Welcome to Celebrating Act 2. Celebrating Act 2 is the user manual for the second half of your life.
Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us again on Celebrating Act Two. It's Thursday, it's Founders Blog Day, or vlog, whatever it is. Art and I are glad to see you again on Celebrating Act Two. By the way, let me just tell you that you're watching Celebrating Act Two. Art, did I mention the name enough?
And you
I
said
say
you want, you
mention it
said
3 times.
vlog. Okay, let's get into it because now, you always like to delay when it's all about me. So why don't you lead into welcome back, Art. Come on.
Uh, uh, so, Art, how was your trip?
It was amazing. I'm pleased that you asked. We did 2,200 miles in
Wow,
7 days and 6 nights out to basically a national park tour.
of the
We saw
Southwest.
5 parks. By the way, we averaged 29.5 miles per gallon with gas prices all the way from the high twos to
And
the,
obviously, for you taking a trip, part of the fun of taking a trip is keeping a log.
yes. Well, actually, I have a Santa Fe, and it actually kept a log, not a vlog, but a log for me. And when we pulled to the driveway, I actually took a picture, and it was 2,200 miles, 29.5 miles per gallon average, and 47 hours of driving.
Wow.
So we have that, but here are the parts. And Linda hadn't seen most of these places. I had some maybe 50, 60 years ago, maybe 60 years ago when my parents took us from New York to California back. But the first day we left at about 5:30 in the morning, got to Zion at
Wow.
about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was a
Oh my
time
word.
change to Central Time or Mountain Time, so it was really 2 o'clock. But we spent about 4 hours there, and it was wonderful. Then we drove part of the way to our next destination and stayed in Hurricane, Utah. The following morning on my bucket list was the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. I've been to the South Rim, as has Linda, one or more times over the years. Then the next day was after the North Rim. We took a look. Yep, the hole was in the ground from the other side. I felt real good about that. And then we wound up at Bryce at about noon. Uh,
Let me interrupt for just a second.
oh wait, I'm on a
This was
roll, but okay.
obviously this was a stop and go kind of tour. This wasn't. I'm going to walk the the Bryce National Park. I'm going to go through the canyons. This was. I'm here. It's beautiful. Let's go to the next park.
Yeah, but what we did though is that on each on two of the parks had trams, and we went on the tram and we got off at just about every stop. Some of them had an easy walk. Others had, you really need your hiking poles, although we had them, for a little bit of stability because we're a little bit older. And but maybe the most adventurous walk we would take would be about a mile round trip to certain overlooks, but there were plenty of places to see just about everything. And the real point of the trip was to get a taste, especially for Linda, of all of the parks. And I thoroughly enjoyed her enjoying them and seeing them again for the second or third time. But it didn't matter; they're magnificent. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we did Zion, we did the North Rim, okay, which actually has some interesting overlooks. So it was more than just a bucket list item. We actually spent about 45 minutes there. Uh,
That brings up another question for
yeah,
you, and that is that all of these parks, all the national, I'm pretty sure most national parks have been have been developed to the point where, of course, they're trying to protect the wilderness, but
right.
they've been developed to the point where you can drive through the park and see from the car, if you will. You get out, you walk 10 yards to the overlook, and you get back in the car and you go to the next overlook. I mean, they're all the national parks
It's
are.
interesting. They're actually split up kind of interestingly. Zion and Bryce, they're trams. You don't drive around. They don't want you to drive around. There are too many people, and the trams take you to the right place. For a lot of people, it goes to a trailhead, and somebody will go off for a day or two because the parks are open
Yeah.
24/7, and then they'll come back, and then they'll eventually come back. Others like I'll get to one of them in a moment. But the first major park, which was that we went to that didn't have a tram, was Arches, and that was strictly driving. And you drove from place to place, and you saw the
Yeah.
same people depending upon the path that you took from place to place. And it was
Making friends.
magnificent as well. They had a lot more longer trails. We took
Yeah.
some of the shorter ones. But yes, but it's very well developed with maps to get you around the park if you were driving
Yeah.
or. But two of the parks were definitely you did it by tram or you didn't do it because they didn't really want people. They don't have the capacity to have too many
Yeah.
people going through. But anyway, Bryce was fabulous. Then we drove 3.5 hours, a lot of driving, to a half hour shy of Arches for Saturday. So we're only on our third day. And we get to the park early, spent a lot of time there, just absolutely stunning. And anybody who's been there knows. But they're close enough that you can do a whole bunch at the same time. And then we went to Durango, Colorado, where I had been
Okay.
with my son about when he was a senior in high school. We just gotten a 4x4 and went on a road trip with no plans, no hotels. Not so much this trip. We had all the hotels planned out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the highlight was we just on a spur of the moment got on a train from Durango to Silverton, which is an old mining town with dirt in the streets, no paved roads or few paved roads, and a 3.5 hour train ride to and from along sides of mountains. Linda had always wanted to take that kind of trip because it's different than the subway. Uh, so we got
City
that in.
girl.
So 7 hours on the train, 2 hours in Silverton, walking around the dirt. But actually, some really nice, genuine Indian trinkets. Some with turquoise, some not.
So Silverton is not a ghost town.
Not at all. It's very vibrant. It is. It has switched from being a silver mining town to a
Right.
tourist town, and
Sure.
it was that way about 30 years ago when I went with Mike. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was a wonderful trip. But that was a day, my day of no driving, sort of like on Sunday, so
Ah.
it's sort of right in the middle. And then we went from Durango to Gallup, only because it's another state that Linda could check off her list. And we stayed in Gallup that night, but we were pretty exhausted by the time we got to Gallup, so we stayed there. And on the way into Gallup, I had been very careful going from the 80 mile an hour to the 20 mile an hour town to the 80 mile an hour interstate
Oh yeah.
again,
Yeah.
and never a problem. Going into Gallup, I must have decelerated too slowly, and I got a 68 in a 55 zone. But what luck would have it, the cop who came, who pulled me over, had a little thing saying USMC veteran.
Ah.
And after he checked my plates and everything, he gave me a warning.
Ah, that's nice.
So that was nice. That was a highlight.
All right, now I want to interrupt and just give you an update on my trip.
No.
Because
Don't
this
care.
is no,
Don't
this
care.
is relevant
Oh,
because
is it?
in the mail I just received from Hertz a speeding ticket.
Really?
I didn't even know I was speeding.
Wow.
Apparently, while in New York in the rental car, I must have passed through some kind of a
Hmm.
electronic speeding trap or something. And the agreement with Hertz, of course, says if
You
you
gotta
get
pay him.
you
If
you
it was
got
your
if
own
you
car, you would
incur
avoid it.
any
If you,
fines,
yeah, yeah, if
we'll
you
bill you.
weren't going back, you would avoid it if it was your own car. But with Hertz, you gotta pay it.
Once I'm old enough to remember once upon a time, if you got a speeding ticket in another city on a rental car, you could just ignore it because they
Right.
couldn't
Not
chase
anymore.
you.
So anyway, how much was it for?
Pardon me?
How much was the ticket for?
Oh, $90.
Wow. Okay,
It
that's
was
okay.
$50. I don't know what the hell I was doing, and I can't figure it out, but or where it was for that matter. But $50 plus $45 administrative fee, $90,
You don't doubt
95.
that you were not caught speeding far more than this one time that you were caught. Because
Yeah,
I
I
know.
think you know what. For $50, I can't believe it was a speeding ticket. I think it was just a trap that you went through their
Right.
electronic thing. Send them a ticket.
Okay.
At
So
any rate,
anyway,
let's go back.
so we got
Let's
back
go
to
back
we're in
to.
Gallup. I didn't get the
Thank
ticket. Uh, we then we changed plans because we were going to go take the 40 back And because we were so close to the South Rim, go see that again, even though we had seen it with our granddaughter, who's now in her late 20s. About 10 or 15 years ago, we had taken her on a trip. But I was looking up about, I think on the day before we went to Durango, and I noticed that there was the Petrified Forest along. Basically, it was going to be a Route 66. That's what Linda wanted to do on the way home. So we went to on a Monday. We got to the painted desert and the Petrified Forest, which is a combined park. And there was virtually nobody in it. It was a cool day. It was a self-guided tour. We did all the stops, and it turned out to be one of Linda's favorite parks. She just absolutely
Oh, that's
the
great.
colors and the it was just a magnificent
Yeah.
experience.
And you didn't plan on that. That wasn't part of your
No,
original
that wasn't part.
itinerary.
Well, we actually got a AAA trip tech. First time we've had one in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it was really well planned out. But, it was on Route 66. So, and part of Route 66 actually went through the park
Yeah.
originally. But in any event, we did that. So that became a highlight. I think for me, Bryce and Arches were highlights, but certainly the Painted Desert and Petrified. So that we did that. And then, of course, we took another hour after we got out of there and took pictures of Linda singing the Winslow, Arizona theme song, standing on a corner. They have the corner and the stuff.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then after that, we stopped at Williams, which sort of is theoretically what the either Cars or Toy Story, one of them was based on.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and then we went to Kingman uh, as our last night. The following morning, we went to the museum. There's an old converted a steam electric generator there, and it's a nice little museum. And then we headed home, and we pulled into our driveway at 3300 at 3:30 in the afternoon. I took a picture of the 2200, 29.5, 47 hours, and we dumped everything off, and we immediately went to Walgreens to get our COVID booster and flu shot. And
Oh,
Walgreens didn't have the booster. They said they ran out of it, so I called Costco. I'm in Mission Viejo, for anybody who doesn't know, so on Heather Ridge in Laguna
yeah.
Niguel. And they said, yeah, we got plenty, come on over. And we got there at 4 o'clock, 4:30, had all the paperwork filled out, 4:45, we're on our way home. And we had both the booster and the flu shot all done.
I
And
want to know if after all that driving, you guys just slept for a week.
no, no. And then we had another. So we did some stuff on Friday, but Saturday, our 7-year-old granddaughter had a gymnastics meet up in Playa Vista, and we went up there, and it was like an hour and a half there, and then 4 hours there until they had the. She rocked it, and won about 4 or 5 medals. So that was fun as well. But just seeing her participate would been enough.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, our grandson, our 9-year-old, had a baseball game, and he pitched. He was a catcher, fall ball, and so it was just a great weekend. And this morning we drove them to school because Mike had an early call and had to do a shoot. So
That's
we're still
wonderful.
going, and
Yeah.
then I get to see you too. And you and I spoke for a while it was a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it just bam
So
bam.
you
It's
old
great.
folks actually had fun.
My second act, I'm not waiting for the third act. I know it's coming. Okay, but there's no slowing down. You don't need to slow down if you don't want to.
Yeah. Well, for all of us over 50, the celebrating Act Two demographic, as they like to say, I think you're a great inspiration for just get in a car and go and enjoy our fabulous country.
Yeah.
At any time of year, you picked. It wasn't even fall. You did, in the Southwest. It's not fall
Oh
yet.
no, no, it was 90. It
It,
was
it's
90
pretty
to the
hot.
mid. Yeah, it was pretty hot, except for the last full day before we came home, when it was in probably the 70s and 75 to 85 range. By the way, I want to add a couple of things. There were some really poignant moments um, on the train to and from Silverton, which has these very deep steps that you need to get on and off the train. Uh, there was on the way back there was this wonderful family of six, uh, grandparents, parents, and two young children, probably one around 9 and the other one a newborn. And the little ones were all over the grandparents, and then you could just see the love in them, just ordinary people. And
Yeah.
he apparently had suffered a stroke because his left arm was completely limp. He was constantly picking it up, putting it on the seat. So, but they went to visit other relatives or friends in Silverton, and they took the railroad. Okay, so he has a family, very difficult for him to get up and down and move around, and you could just see how the kids absolutely loved them. And so
Yeah.
there was all these slices of life which I've always seen all over America throughout my entire lifetime to date, of just people caring about other people,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of instances of that uh, that I just noticed all over the place. So uh, yeah, we probably still have issues and problems. Maybe we're not as nice to each other as a general rule, but there still are the family units that the people care about each other, and it's an abundance. So get out. One thing we didn't talk about, and I'll add about the my feeling of safety from the pandemic, and it was really mixed. Linda and I, and anybody else with California plates on, wore masks. Uh, of our age range, which is mostly who was traveling
Yeah.
at this time of year because school's back in. And but there were some places in particularly Utah where I don't know that they understand what a mask is. There probably aren't any in the lower part of the state of Utah. Nobody wore them in restaurants, whether they were workers there or anybody going in there, except, as I say, the pure tourists, and you can count on people from California wearing them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but I think that it probably matches, I'm not proselytizing here, but it probably matches the numbers of people who are getting COVID in areas where they're just not wearing masks. I mean, doctors and nurses wear masks in hospitals, not all the time, but when they're around infectious people for a reason. They have been forever. But so there were certain places where it almost was like it didn't exist. But because they care about the tourist money, they didn't make fun of us and things like that. So they probably learned their lesson quite a while ago that they want the money from people, particularly from seniors, without making fun of them. But everybody was very polite to one another. When people were outdoors, they weren't, for the most part, no masks. Just when we went to Little League game the other day, not a single person was wearing a mask, because I think we're pretty well assuming that the the open air dissipates any issues, particularly with people like us that have had fully vaccinated, and in our case the booster. But people were generally nice, and so there are lots of pieces of the ideal of America that I grew up with that still exists. So I suggest.
Well, you better take care of that cough. It could be that you didn't wear the mask at some point.
You're right. Well, maybe it's telling me the vlog should be over. Anyway, it's a great trip. Get out there, get in your car, and go
Yep.
take a
Yep.
road trip.
Well, good. I'm glad. Well, first of all, it's good to have you back.
Great to be back.
Um,
Thank you.
but I think it's great that you shared your experience with us, because so many people really should get out more, whether it's traveling around the Southwest or the
You can do it.
Northeast or
You can do it
you know
safely. You can do it. You can do
2,000
it.
miles is a lot of travel.
Yeah, it was a great, absolutely great trip. And we're still both absolutely delighted we went on it and have great memories from a trip. And we're already planning over the next couple of years to take another one, maybe a little
Now,
further
did you
south.
take a lot of pictures?
Uh, I didn't, but Linda did. Linda
Okay,
is
good.
now distilling her 10,000 pictures down to a few hundred. and then she's going to print one of those books you get online, the nice slick
Right.
books as a memory.
Right.
Yep, a lot of great pictures.
Since we're talking to seniors in our audience, um, I think the pictures are important, and here's why. Not only is it fun to look back at your pictures, but I just came across a photo of my grandparents, my mother's mother and father,
Mm.
retired in Florida. They were from New York. He was a cop, retired policeman. They went to Florida just on a trip. They didn't move to Florida, and it's a great photo. I mean,
Mm.
here's these two white-haired people. He's in. This is almost out of an old movie from the 1930s. He's in a white suit and a tie,
Wow.
and it's obviously Florida with the palm trees and stuff. But that's probably the only decent picture we have of them, because it's one of those
Really?
ask somebody to take your picture.
And it's staged
Uh,
enough so that
yeah,
the,
yeah, and so it's really a just a nice memento to have. And what I'm going to do with my cousins is I'm going to ask them to um, get their parents, get old photos of their parents,
mm.
and we'll post them on the family website and compare from for each of us our aunts and uncles as we knew them.
Mm.
Uh, when they were younger and then when they were older. Hopefully we'll get a lot of pictures. So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, I think
So
we can make
anyway,
a
take
we
pictures.
can we can make a whole vlog on this because at a recent family gathering, I started taping everybody. Unfortunately, there's a lot of wind in the background, so I've got to get the wind noise out. But what does it mean to you to have been part of this clan? The clan being the Rose family from my mom's, who had three sisters, family,
Right.
who was an artist, and what that particular thing meant to them. And so
Yeah.
we're beginning to collect stuff like for fun for the grandkids and
Yes.
the great grandkids to know what we thought about it. Maybe they'll add to it along the way.
Yeah.
What special we feel about our family.
Well,
Another topic,
it'll probably skip a generation because not every kid is interested in the parents or his grandparents.
right?
But it's still it's having lost. Um, when my mother died, we had packed up all the family photos into a box and among other boxes, left them in my brother's station wagon or something like that, and it was robbed overnight. Somebody broke the
Well, I
window,
know who
took
took it.
everything
It's
that was in the
obvious.
car.
I You want them back? Okay, Woolworth took them because don't they need those pictures for the picture frames that they sell?
Yeah,
Don't they
that's
have
where
always?
they go. Yeah,
I bet Woolworth has them.
yeah. So anyway, the point is, sometimes these photos are become very precious. So
Yeah, let's talk about that in another vlog because
okay.
we've done some things around that which I think people will find interesting, and
So
I'd like
the
to
all
get other
right. So
people's
to end
ideas.
this up, you're
Yes,
right, right. To end this up, travel. Get out there and travel. See the country and enjoy the
right.
country. Enjoy
And as
life.
you said the last time, on one of the last vlogs we did, see the USA in your whatever you own.
Yeah. In your Nissan. Oh wait,
Oh,
no.
right. Okay.
All right, Art. This has been wonderful. We will see you again soon. In fact, I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, by the
But
way, did I say we also went to Four Corners?
oh, good. What's that like?
Uh, there,
Besides this
you can
on
you
a
can
map, what's it like?
you can stand on four states simultaneously. It's different than when we originally went 60 years ago and then 27 years ago. It's
Yeah.
now it's on the now I think the Navajo Nation reservation, so they now charge a fee to go in there.
Okay.
But it's still worth it going there. They make a couple of bucks, which I think is just great and just fine after all these years. And they have a nice display, and you can buy trinkets there. But they have the four corners of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico, and
And
they come right there, and you can stand on all four
is
states
it
at the
is
same
it
time.
it's enclosed? It's an enclosure?
Well, what they did was it used to be in the middle of a road, and you just went there, and now they built as sort of like a stadium thing with seatings that moved up so people can get better pictures of it. So it's a really clean thing. Except we went right after it rained, so we had this red mud all over our feet for the next couple of days until we were able to scrape our whole off. But no, it was clean. It was wonderful. It was well organized, and it's the Four Corners. It's the only place that exists in the United States with these four states actually meet, and does it change the world? No, but it's an interesting phenomenon.
Okay, and then next time I'll go see the ball of string, the big ball of string in Iowa somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Please take a picture. Please take a picture.
I'm just sorry that they had to commercialize the Four Corners. So, what can I tell you? Welcome back. Good to see you. And folks, we're going to see you next Thursday for our next absolutely fascinating Founders Vlog.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.